Hi, and welcome to our Wednesday webinar. Sorry for the late start. Um, I guess my first recording is going to have to be considered a dry run. Our topic today is agent branding, which is letterhead and signature. First, a couple of housekeeping things. Please post any questions as comments as you think of them. There's roughly a 60-second delay between when you post them and when we can see them. And we'll answer questions after the main part of this presentation. If you have questions unrelated to this topic, give us a call or send us an email. The easiest way to do that would be to log into your RealtyJuggler account and click on the Contact Us button on the main screen, which will take you to a contact screen that'll go ahead and send us a trouble ticket that we can go ahead and answer very quickly. The second way to do that is if you haven't signed up for a free trial, you can go ahead and go to RealtyJuggler.com and go ahead and click on the Contact Us link, which will also go ahead and give you phone numbers as well as a place that you can go ahead and send us an email. Let's talk about your branding, what your clients see when you send them a printed letter or email. The first thing that happens when you sign up for a free trial with RealtyJuggler is that, and let's go ahead and do that now, is you'll be taken to a free trial screen where you can go ahead and put information in. This information is what's used to go ahead and build your initial signature. So when I go into my RealtyJuggler account and I click the account link, you can go ahead and see that information that you entered initially when you signed up for the free trial. Of course, you can always change that at any time, including your email address, by clicking here. But that initial bit of information isn't enough of a signature for most people. And so the best thing to do is to go ahead and modify it and go ahead and get that updated. The first thing that I did before we got started here is I went to all files and I uploaded both an agent portrait as well as a company logo. And my intention, of course, is to use that with my signature. So let's go ahead and go to the signature now. From the main screen, go ahead and click Settings and click on Preferences. Go ahead and click on the Mail tab if it isn't already selected and scroll down a little bit. You can see the signature that was built from that initial information that you put in when you signed up for the free trial or that you changed by clicking on an account. But I want to spice this up a little bit by going ahead and adding a little bit more information. The first thing I want to do is go ahead and add my portrait. As you saw, I went to Main, All Files to upload that portrait. Now I can use the Mona Lisa icon on the toolbar to insert that image into my signature. And all I have to do is pick it. Now let's scroll down a little bit and you can see that image. That looks about right. When I uploaded it, I resized it so that it was only 150 pixels wide. That seems pretty good. The other thing I want to do is go ahead and insert my company logo. Again, I uploaded that to Main All Files, and I'm going to go ahead and use the Mona Lisa tool to go ahead and pick that logo. This logo is 300 pixels wide. And here it is. That seems a little bit big to me, so I'm going to go ahead and double click it and open up the ability to edit it. I've got the little padlock lock, so the proportions will stay the same, but I'm going to make that 150 pixels as well. And then go ahead and click OK. And as you can see, now both my portrait and my company logo are the same size. The other thing you can do with RealtyJuggler's signature is go ahead and put in the social media icons that you want to use. So for example, if I wanted to go ahead and add a link for Facebook, I can simply go ahead and click on Facebook. It'll go ahead and give me a pop-up that'll let me put in my URL for my Facebook account, and then I have the icon. And I can do that for any of the ones that make sense for my signature. In this case, I just want to use Facebook and Google+. And that's all there is, and these are clickable in your email signature. They would just appear as icons in your printed signature, but that some people like that, some people don't. If you want to have a separate signature from your email, that's different than what you use for your printed letterhead, you can go ahead and just copy the text portion of your signature and put it into the alternate signature. Of course, that does mean that you'll have to explicitly reference this signature in your mail forms for it to go ahead and work for printed letters. So for the most part, keeping the signature simple is a good idea. As well as the signature, your return email address is also filled in from that initial sign up or from the changes you've made on your account screen. This signature is used in a couple of ways. Both the United States and Canada, as part of their spam laws, require that you have a physical return mailing address to be used on the email, so that if they choose to opt out via printed letter rather than email, they can do that. It does not have to be your home address. It can be any working mailing address that you check regularly. In general, of course, your business address of your office is going to be the one to use. Now, this address is used in both of those ways, and I'm going to show you a couple of other things regarding that as we'll go ahead and now look at the letterhead itself. One of the ways you can get to the letterhead screen is above your signature on this Main Settings Preferences Mail tab, is you can go ahead and click here. The other way to get to it, the more usual way I suppose, is to go from the main screen into Mail and click on Letterhead. On this Letterhead screen there are 4 tabs, the most important of which, if you haven't got a Letterhead installed, of course, is your Install Letterhead tab. On this Install Letterhead tab are a number of instructions explaining how Letterhead works and our guidelines. And below our guidelines, of course, it just explains that you can go ahead and send that letterhead to us and we will install it for you. And we're willing to work with you, so if you've got a troublesome one or one that's oversized, we can generally get a really pleasing result by working with you. Below the text are some sample letterheads. There are 14 total letterheads that you can go ahead and take a look at. And based on your company, you could simply go ahead and tell us, hey, please uninstall sample 3. Or you can choose a letterhead that best suits your needs. So if you want your company logo plus some contact information, we can help you with that. Now, the nice thing about these samples is that you can simply click on them and it'll save as a docx that you can modify. So installing your letterhead may be as simple as saving a sample, changing some of the contact information, changing the logo, and then sending it to us. If you have trouble with that, we're happy to go ahead and work with you. So if you send us a logo plus your contact information and say you want it to look like sample 14, we can do that. One of the things we tend to recommend if you're going to install just a logo is that you either center it or put it on the right side, and I'll show you why here in just a second. In this particular account, I've gone ahead and installed the letterhead already. I've made that request, submitted it, they've sent it back to us, and it's installed. So on the email tab, I've gone ahead and got a letterhead already installed, and you can see my signature with the things I've added to it. On the email tab, you have 4 controls that will affect how your emails look. Both the font, the default font used by your emails, the font size, and then of course your email header and footer. And you can turn those off at will, so that if you had a particular set of email that you wanted to send out without your graphical letterhead, you can. In general, though, leaving it on is probably a good idea. It gives you brand continuity. And of course, you can see here that there's a link to take us back to editing the signature and return address. In this case, because I have a letterhead installed, this graphic doesn't look very good to me now. So I want to go ahead and remove it since it's really just a duplicate. So instead of going to the Main Settings Preferences screen and clicking on the Mail tab, I can go ahead and get there simply by clicking here. Deleting the extra image is as simple as clicking it to highlight it, which will turn it blue, and then hitting the delete key. And that's all there is to go ahead and changing your signature. In this case, let's go ahead and go back and see what that looks like on our sample. Now, as you can see, there it is without that extra logo. Let's go ahead and take a look at the printed tab. Again, much the same format. There's a bunch of controls controlling how your letterhead looks, as well as a sample and your signature. In this case, you can see that I've got my return mailing address here. I don't think I necessarily need it, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. The nice thing about RealtyJuggler's screens here is that any change you make using those controls is going to be reflected on the little letter below. So in general, if you've got a pre-printed letterhead that you're using, in other words, you just want to use your letters with a letterhead that you've already got printed up, maybe it's an embossed letterhead or something, you can go ahead and, instead of having that printed letterhead set to auto, you can go ahead and choose a certain number of blank lines, allowing for room for that header. And of course, if you want to use that graphical letterhead with a number of extra blank lines, you can do that as well. So I changed it here to 5 blank lines, and you can see the effect in the number of blank lines that were added below the header. By default, RealtyJuggler has 1 space added when you have a graphical header, and that's generally pretty good and saves room on the page, especially when you're printing a letter. So I can either choose this, or my preference would be to go ahead and choose auto. Okay, the final thing is, again, back to the return mailing address, is your labels and envelopes. This is the appearance of the label, and here is the appearance of your return mailing address on the label. And of course, you can go ahead and return that return address on or off. And really, that's all there is to branding in RealtyJuggler. We're happy to help you with it. So again, you can go ahead and ask us questions about that, or we can help you with it. And let's go ahead and take a look to see if there's any questions regarding this. And other than people noticing that it wasn't recorded right away, I'm not seeing any questions. So if you've got questions to ask, go ahead and please ask them by going ahead and filling in that contact us form. Our topic for next week is the touch cycle, which is the best way to easily follow up with your leads and contacts. And of course, if you haven't signed up for a free trial yet, go ahead and go to RealtyJuggler.com and click on that free trial button for a no strings attached 90-day free trial. Have a great day, and hope to see you next week.